back to Tag Team, the Pokemon Trading Card Games premier podcasting trio. I'm here today with not so special guest, but my good friend, Andrew Mahone. Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm chilling, JW. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me, but I'm happy to be back. Last weekend, was visiting home. One of my cousins was getting married, so went to a wedding and then got to celebrate Mother's Day at home with my mom, but Natalie was also there, and it was her first Mother's Day as a mom, which was really special.
What'd you get her?
I'm not done, so hold on. And then Natalie's mom was also there, so it was a trio of moms. Okay, it was all the moms in my life
just how I
were
like
there.
Yep.
Yes, so it was a really special Mother's Day. I got them little gift boxes from Lush, which is like a kind of fancy soaps and shampoos kind of place. So I got them all gift boxes from that, and then we all went out to dinner, and I paid, and then Natalie and I paid, but like for a gifts to like the other mom. Well, because we're married, so it's like I paid,
right.
We paid, but that's like a gift.
Hey,
to our moms.
Some couples don't have joint bank accounts.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I mean, like, we don't have joint bank accounts, but our bank accounts are linked under one thing, and we freely pass money between all of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, like, if it's they're linked, I don't know, but because it didn't make sense to rerouting to a brand new account, like, bro, I don't know, man. Like, having to, how much of a pain it is to dig up the account numbers and all that. Like,
I know, dude. It's well, but I feel like in like Bank of America, at least you can have it kind of pre-programmed. Anyway, carry on.
Anyways,
so
where'd you guys go?
Where'd you guys go?
We went to a sushi restaurant in Baltimore. It was nice, right on the water in Fells Point. But
seems like a very appropriate place for a sushi restaurant.
Yes. Then, they don't get the sushi straight from the harbor, though. That'd be gross. But then I also got I did a little arts and crafts with my son, and did a little handprint on all of the Mother's Day cards that I got.
Wow.
So and I even got Natalie a special Mother's Day card from him. And I transcribed what he would have, what he wanted me to say.
Of course, of course.
in the card that signed it with his handprint, which is very fun and cute and messy. But he's only 8 months old, so like it was pretty tough, but we got there. So
did she cry?
No.
She didn't cry at the emotion?
No, it was sweet. Everyone was really happy. I mean, it was sweet. It was a very nice Mother's Day, but like, no, everybody was just having a good time.
Yeah,
it wasn't
okay. Well, great.
Wasn't like a sob fest, but yeah. So that was great. Had a wonderful trip, and now I'm getting back into the swing of things and prepping for like kind of a rapid fire few weeks.
Yeah.
Coming up in June. I mean, we really got a lot going on with the Full Grip Games 6K Destined Rivals doubleheader release event happening on June 31st and May 1st. And then we've got NAIC. And then you may have seen, I also am going to be casting this tournament at Rose Poke, which is a card store. A card store up in Menor, Ohio, and we were able to come to an agreement where he's hiring me to cast the event, and I need some extra cash right now because I'm paying down some credit. I'm paying down some credit, some PayPal credit at 6 months no interest, and 6 months is coming up, so like I got bills to pay, and we were able to broker a deal to cast the event. I told him I could not advertise for the event whatsoever. That's not
right.
That's not, you're not hiring me to do that. That's what Full Grip pays me to do.
Right.
I passed it by Jameson, and I was like, Jameson, do you care? Jameson owns Full Grip. I was like, do you care if I do this? And he was like, well, who is it? And I was like, oh, it's this shop up in Mentor. He's like, oh, I don't care. He's like, I just wanted to know who it was in case I hated the guy.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think Brian and Jameson would actually get along pretty well. Like aside from the
Probably,
whole like
yeah.
card shop, I don't know necessarily competition. I don't think Brian is that competitive. I know Jameson maybe could be, in some regard, but I think
They're
outside
an hour
outside
away.
I know
like,
outside of the sphere, right? Outside of the card shop
Yeah.
sphere, I feel like they would get along
The
just
card
fine.
shops are an hour away, and like
Yeah.
generally speaking, I'm not the kind of sponsoree. I'm not the kind of creator who like is always out trying to like figure out how can I make an extra buck. Like who
Right.
who else can I tap to make an extra buck? Like I
Right.
really, really, really prefer to just like dig in and work my absolute hardest to represent the sponsors that I represent and to work for them. But like this is kind of like you know what, like, yeah, I know how to produce an event, and I'm one of the only people who can do it successfully. Like I could go on the road and successfully produce a tournament. Like one of the only people you could tap to do it. And it's like a very valuable skill set that I have, and Jameson is allowing me to go, monetize that for a weekend, which is like cool.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's nice. So it was very cool of Jameson to not have an issue with that, and it's also very cool of Brian to understand that, like, where my boundaries were with it. Like, I'm not going to advertise for you. I'm not going to promote the event. I'm not going to do any of that. But like, if you just want the service of having your event streamed, like, I will provide that for you. And like, so that's a service for your players, for the people showing up. They want to, for people that want to watch the event, like that service will be provided, and I will do that, on the day of the tournament.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're paying me for one day. Yeah.
How do you feel like, is it a 1 day thing? I thought for some reason
it's a 1 day thing.
2 days.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a 1 day thing.
how do you feel like streams are going these days? Like with specifically tournament, production. I know you do Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Standard and GLC. Kind of where are your thoughts? I don't know, 5 months in.
So things are different. Everything is different. There was a lot of stress and growing pains for me at first. I went from being a daily, weekday, daytime streamer, who streamed consistently 5 days a week during like working hours from like 9,
you would say like classical streamer archetype.
Yeah, like 9 to 3 or so, like 10 to 4, stuff like that. I was just kind of streaming that daytime where people would, tune in during their work day or whatever, and it just became a thing. And I did that for 7 years, where I was just grinding out weekdays, and was just playing the digital game or, having hosts on and kind of just creating YouTube videos in the cracks wherever I could find it. If I was streaming for 4 hours a day, I was working on YouTube videos for 3. If I was streaming for 5 hours, I was working on it, for a few hours, whatever, and then doing thumbnails and everything else in the cracks as well. So like,
yeah.
And that was just kind of the thing. And so like time for brainstorming didn't exist. Time for being creative didn't exist. Time for creating cool visuals didn't exist. I at a point I was hiring an editor, right, to edit the videos because I couldn't even really have time to do that. So that's kind of what we were doing, and I got to a point where I just realized, obviously we've talked about this a lot, but that arc in my career was coming to a natural close, especially with me being done with like the tournament grinding. There was the narrative of me being live what do I need to be live grinding out the game every single day? I'm not going to Worlds. I'm not grinding for regionals. Like I just felt like I was spinning my wheels, and I was more passionate about giving myself time to work on other projects. So now, streaming tournaments on Wednesday and Thursday nights, having the occasional guest on to co-host a stream with me. I love it. I mean, so like from like a mental health and from like a practicality standpoint, I am in my zone. I am absolutely loving it now. At first, it was really hard. It was really hard because I was going from like being this kind of like personality driven daytime streamer who, just interacted with chat nonstop and was like, very just kind of like me bouncing and creating content off of whatever chat was saying, right? Like, and whatever was happening in the game. But now, very different job. I am producing tournaments, right, for a game store. And then sometimes I do the same thing where I host a guest. And the vibe and the feel of the events is very different. But like casting so I think the biggest thing, and I've been talking about this to some of my close friends, is that it used to feel like when I went live, I mean, it was like I was kind of the main audience, and the main people that I was serving was the chat, right? Whoever was like the viewing at the time. And whoever was like working during the day that I'm like, live, I'm kind of like their radio station or whatever. But now I feel like I am providing a service for our local community, right? Which is like
interesting.
And that is the main thing now. So like it doesn't really matter. Like if people want to tune in and watch, like that's great. Like you're having fun watching, you're being a part of our local community, that's great. But like I have gotten so much closer to our locals now that I'm doing this through, Gym Leader Challenge and Standard, getting to talk with them about their games, providing them a service so that they can go back and watch the replays and learn about what they could do better from my commentary over their matches. It's helping them to grow as players. And it's like, it much more provides a service for the shop now. And it makes our locals so much cooler to attend now that they're streamed, right? It's such a cool draw for our locals that they could have that service provided for them by attending one of our local tournaments. So that's been a really big shift in my mind. Like now I am creating this content for our local scene. And anybody who wants to tune in and watch and considers it fun, great. But like I understand that it is not the same thing that I was creating for. I'm not worried about getting the same amount of viewers that I was getting before. It's a different time slot. It's a different kind of production. It's a different kind of interaction, a different kind of entertainment. Right. I'm really thrilled that some people still like it. But also like it's different now. And
well, do you feel like you're still trying to find that audience? Right. Because I mean, talk about numbers, like that's not everything, right? That's not I mean, when I say that's not everything, that's really not much at all, right? It's because you're generating revenue in other ways, you're able to stay afloat. Like it's not simply like ad revenue based on views. And so do you feel like you're still trying to find that audience? Because there's a change, right? And you've said that there's a change in that number, but do you still feel like you're cultivating a new audience? Do you feel like it's kind of just reduced, that same like core, like reduced from what it was? Like where are you at with that?
Oh, it's definitely, well, the audience is pretty much cut in half. Like I mean, I know that, and there's less people interested in watching tabletop tournaments than there are people interested in watching.
Which I think is fascinating, personally, because I really like, and I don't know, I also really like storylines, and you can't do that in a client. You just cannot do that. You can do that. And I don't, I watch some of the streams, and I kind of, can get like week over week, you do a good job of bringing up player history and like these players have played before, this player's been on stream before. But I feel like really milking that to the extent that you can.
It's fun.
Like, that's interesting to me. And so
me too. Well, and that's kind of the whole thing I'm starting to get into, is I want to get into like storylines. I want to get into personality driven content, like what makes the game worth watching. You care about the people, and the community, right? So I'm digging into that. I've been talking with Natalie a lot about it. I do need to work better at like at kind of communicating that I'm live Wednesday and Thursday nights now. I mean, yeah, 7 years I was kind of doing one thing, and now I'm switching and doing an entirely different thing, right?
Right.
I might as well be live in the middle of the night, because that's just it's so far removed from where I used to be live. And so I do have to do a good job of like making sure that people who are interested in tuning in know that I'm doing, and some of that'll just come with time. It's like I'm on every Wednesday and Thursday night. People will start to get used to that and be like, oh yeah, I'll tune in to that or whatever.
For sure.
And like, oh, it's a Wednesday night. Oh yeah, league's on. Okay, I can just put that on or whatever while I'm doing whatever. So like, people start to get used to it. And it's cool. And honestly, when I do decide to pop on for like a daytime stream, like the other day when I had Jesse on to do like Destined Rivals decks, I mean, I'm getting just as many views as I used to get during a stream if I do that. You know, and I still have like, you know, kind of that same vibe that it used to be if I have you know, a guest on during my daytime slot and I'm doing something that's like super meta, you know, relevant, or something that, you know, people are really interested in watching, right?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like the VOD on YouTube, I also started streaming to my main YouTube channel now, which is different. So I was streaming to TrickyGym live. Now I'm streaming to the TrickyGym main channel. And I think the most recent VOD of Jesse and I doing games together has like 16,000 views. That's like pretty good.
Not bad
for a stream. Yeah, that's pretty good. And and then that doesn't even count the Twitch views either. So like, that's fine. But I'm really not trying. I'm trying not to worry about it. I like the streaming stuff. It's like, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I want to be doing now. So I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep working at it. What I'm really passionate about and really kind of trying to crack is like creating the most inspired, most watchable, most interesting YouTube videos I've ever made in my life. So like, that's where I like, and one of the reasons I love this so much is like, I have a predictable thing I do every single week. I stream tournaments Wednesday and Thursday night. It provides a service for my local community, people who want to tune in and check in with me every week. You know, longtime viewers who want to check in with me every week and like and watch a stream of mine can do that dependably, right? So it still gives me a connection to that audience. I'm not just dropping them, you know. I mean, like, that stream audience is still there. I can still interact with live people. But I now have the time and the energy to be creative, to brainstorm, to work on creative projects, and to bring them to fruition. And there is some like, I mean, I'm already pretty stoked on some of the stuff that I've done. The fake card YouTube video has 210,000 views. That's like pretty freaking good. On a brand new YouTube channel. My other bulk battle has like almost 100,000 views. I've got more stuff in the pipeline that I'm like really thrilled about, that I think is going to be exciting. I've got a documentary that I'm working on, finishing up at NAIC. I've been working tirelessly at that, and I think that's going to be really cool. So like, you know, it's like, yeah, you lose some of the, like, I had to sacrifice some of the streaming stuff in order to like bring these other ideas to fruition, which I've been kind of really excited about lately. So,
dude, that's awesome. That's incredible. Yeah, it's for one, obviously, I'm very excited about the documentary that's in the works. That should be coming out. I mean, you're filming the last part of it at NAIC, so
it's true.
Yep. It's very exciting.
I've been corralling resources and images and songs. There was a rap song.
I bet there is. Yep.
There's a rap song.
I think I know where this is going. Yes, this is gonna old heads rejoice.
I have the rap song.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, are you gonna have any focus groups? Any kind of early watchers?
I mean, I could, but
any early watchers?
I'll probably just drop it. You know,
You could. I
surprise
mean, you
drop it.
could. You could. You know, you
Isn't
could.
that the way? Isn't that meta now? You just surprise drop something.
Yeah, I guess so. You could do that too. I was gonna say you could pass it along to me and give me like an early preview, but
Give you a sneak
you
watch.
you clearly didn't get the hint.
Nah, you'll get to watch it when everyone else gets to watch it.
Wow, no preferential treatment, huh? I could give you
No.
advice, man. I could give you advice.
Oh, all right. Notes? You're offering notes? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No,
Well, then
no,
I'll
I
consider
guess
it.
rescinded. For that attitude, I don't think so. But anyway, yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's you know, you're the untapped power of the human mind is about to be unleashed. You know, I mean, I think they're long form content, and I've been, you know, saying this for a while, but long form content in the Pokemon TCG is dead, at least in its current state, which is a real shame because we have the competitive depth that a game like the VGC has, but we just don't have like that momentum built up, right? No. You know, and you see, you know, Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, and there are quite a few, you know, channels that have you know, over 100,000 subscribers, and not that that's again the only metric, but it's just an obvious metric to, you know, show popularity. Whereas in the Pokemon TCG, we're really scraping by with just a couple. And I'm, you know, halfway through watching Wolfie's competitive video about Toronto regionals, and I really don't know anything about VGC, but I'm sitting here through like a 4.5 hour video on how he won Toronto regionals. And it's you know, it's exciting and it's interesting and
millions of views, yeah.
And it has 1 million views and it's a day old, you know, and I see a future, I think, for the TCG in some capacity to like scratch that. Oh, I totally think so. Shot. Yeah, I think the game is. Yeah, totally, man.
No shot.
I mean, you're the one that should be like aspiring to that.
No, you gotta like no. Like I worked. I'm 7 just saying years, we're 7 years just like
yeah, but it's
that,
not silly deck though, right? Like silly deck or silly team, even in VGC, like doesn't.
Not enough people. It's cards, dude. It's Pokemon cards. It's just, it's got this thing. The only thing people care about is opening the packs, which is crazy because Pokemon cards are, yeah, I mean, they're more popular right now than they've ever been, dude. Like yeah, I think selling hotter than ever, except for maybe 1999. But like outside of that, they're selling hotter than they've ever sold.
It's crazy. I bet you ask like the average collector. I bet you ask 90% of collectors, they don't even know what like the Umbreon EX attacks are.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody actually reads the cards.
Or how many cards go into an opening hand? Like no.
I know.
Nobody knows that, bro.
But you could be the Wolfie of the TCG.
That's not possible.
Sure it is. I think it's there. Anyway, all I'm saying is the momentum of the content that's being created has been funneled into paywall articles because no one can get enough views if they were to publish the same content for free.
100%. Yeah.
No one can get the same views to exactly to make it worth the effort that you put in. So now we have these, you know, website. I mean, before it was Pokebeach and the article websites, and now we have
Pokebeach is still there. I mean,
no, I know, but that's part like that was the originator, right? And like 6 prizes in Pokebeach, and you remember how mad people were back then. They're like, oh, you have all this information, like you should just share it freely. And now it's Metafy.
Okay, so like
right?
Tord
and like
your Tords and Azules are like the Wolfies of the TCG, right? Like your Tords and your Azules. But like Tord can just hop on and do a Metafy class and make $7,000. Like what's he need to make a YouTube video about?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly my point.
Yeah, and exactly, right? Because the thing is the viewership numbers are not there. So you're not going to generate enough ad revenue, right? But there are enough people that are interested in playing the competitive game. And there are enough people that are interested in getting better willing to pay to try and get better faster, right? So that's an exciting step for the Pokemon TCG. Now, I kind of like was part of the group that worked towards and ultimately figured out that like ad revenue will never really pay. It's not dependable enough when you're making competitive content, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we worked at that for a very long time,
right?
And it just doesn't really pay enough.
Yeah.
And there are still people out there creating like good competitive content, and it does okay, but like it's not
paying the bills.
It's not paying the bills really.
Yeah.
And but you think about, okay, for a player of like, Tord or Azul's level, right? It was the amount of time, effort, sacrifice that went into building the careers that they have. To fire off a Metafly class and get $7,000 is like awesome, but like is a lifetime of work to get to that point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's not like it's free and easy. I mean, it is a little bit. No. I would say a little bit easier, because I think with generating a YouTube audience, like, yeah, you need to be a little bit more consistent than like the Metafy courses, in the sense, can be kind of and there's a psychology behind that too, right? There's a psychology behind that too, where people will perceive a product that they have to pay for or pay more for as being of higher quality than something that they can get for free. And that's just human nature, right? That's why we have luxury brands, because humans are built, we're wired that way, to think that way. And so I think that there's that kind of effect too, that goes into, Metafy or any article site or, paywalls, that people are, and I have not, seen many other Metafy courses, but, so this is not like slandering at all, but, I think that there is that perception that, okay, I'm paying for this, so it must be better than the analysis on a free podcast or the analysis from a YouTube video or
100%,
whatever it is. Right. So anyway, food for thought there. You ever thought about doing like paywall content? I mean, I know obviously you wrote for Poke Beach like a decade ago.
Yeah, I used to do.
Do you think you'd ever do competitive paywall content?
No.
Maybe in like 5 years, when you're back on the competitive grind and your little baby is older, and you're back on the circuit.
Never say never.
And you're back. And we're back on the circuit.
Why would I be back on the circuit? You're trying to get us back on the circuit. You're trying to say it ain't over.
Yeah. We're gonna get the boys back after our kiddos. Yep. When they get old enough, and we're gonna go back.
It's hard to say what the future holds, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. I feel like it's very difficult to say what's what my career is going to be like in 3 or 5 years. But no, I never. I mean, because I was at a point where I could have been firing off Metafy classes, I guess, like my 2023 season, I could have, and and I used to write articles behind paywalls, but I really believe in the system, I guess, that I've kind of built up over the course of the last 7 years, which is that I provide the content available for everyone who will view it, and then the hope is that the viewers who appreciate my content support me, right? And that kind of agreement has carried me for a very long time. The thing about a Metafy class, it is not it's not stable. It's like coaching. Like you have to just keep doing it, right? And then, like, what if you don't have anything inspiring to make a class about? Then you're starting to like grift, right? Or it's just inconsistent.
Sure.
right? So it's like, okay, well, an opportunity for a class pops up a couple times a year, so it's like inconsistent. Well, when am I going to have something really inspiring to do a class about? I think that's why you see some of the classes are a little sporadic, because it's like, it's not always worth making a class that costs, X amount of money.
Some might disagree.
I think we've certainly seen people who are just making classes about whatever. The classes aren't really worth showing up to. And I don't really like going about things that way.
Interesting. Different strokes, I suppose. Different strokes.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like, well, what's the point of being a streamer if I've got information that's hidden?
For the viewers that love you more.
What's the point of being a YouTuber if I'm withholding something from
people?
You?
Do that all the time. What are you talking about?
Yes, and I think it's crappy. So like, what if I'm live and someone's like asking me questions like, oh, well, if you want to know the answer to that, you could tune into my Metafy class. Like, no, dude. What the heck is the point of being live and watching me right now?
Yeah, the point of being live is to advertise for the course.
Advertise the Metafy course. No, so think of it as like my streams are a little Metafy course, okay? And it costs, and it's a pay what you want, and if you wanna subscribe, that's what you're paying.
Yeah.
And it's very affordable because it's pay what you want, right?
Yeah.
So it's a more kind of socialized version of information providing, I guess.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah, definitely a strategy that has worked for you. And I would say that it's a very weird ecosystem just with the kind of, I don't want to say like devolution, but this funnel into paywall, because I feel like that's how, if you're going to be a creator in the TCG space, there's just not enough viewership to make free content. But you have to try to, like, if you're going to stay in the game, and you need to afford travel, and you need to afford cards, and you need to afford entry fees, like, you got to make money somehow, and that's just kind of the way to do it right now. So it is a very interesting dynamic, I feel like.
I have always been of the opinion, like, I get it, right? Because you can't just, like, if you're gonna make a little YouTube channel, right, or you're gonna start streaming, you're not gonna make enough money to pay your bills doing that. And so, I mean, I've always said, and this is something that I used to tell Azul all the time, because like me and Azul have talked about this constantly. Because I mean, in a lot of ways, for a long time, we were two of some of the only Pokemon players making a living doing what we were doing. Like for a long time.
That might still hold true. I mean, to be honest,
like to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Well, like Little Dark Fury, I know, is like making a living, and he's got like his own kind of like little grind that he's on, which is similar to the grind that I used to be on.
No,
but his is like YouTube only. But anyways, so
I think just side note, I think I respect LDF way more than you or Azul. Just throwing that one out there. Because that kind of content, bro, daily,
it's
for the last
mind-numbing to create,
half decade or whatever, man.
Yes. Well, and this is something I've talked to Azul about a ton, and I think if you want stability, as a content creator, you have to build yourself a partnership. What does the trading card game does not have the numbers that the video game has, right? So someone like Wolfie or video game content creators they rely on the numbers, okay? And then sponsors are harder to come by for their content because there's no tangibles to be sold. The difference in the Pokemon trading card game is that there are infinite tangibles to be sold all the time, every single day, across the world. We are exchanging money, right? So the advantage that we have as trading card game players is that we have real sponsorship opportunities. However, nobody understands what it takes to be a good sponsoree, okay? Because every Pokemon player just wants to wear a shirt, show up to a tournament, and take the shop's money. Yeah, you're not going to get squat with that, and your business partnership is going to dissolve. As we've seen, happens with how many times we get sponsorships announcements, and then it falls through. I'm pretty sure Azul just got let go by Gaming Grid, or they parted ways. Because Full Grip and Azul parted ways years ago, and then Azul partnered up with Gaming Grid, and then their thing fell through. Keeping sponsorships is very difficult in the Pokemon trading card game. But it is possible, as proven by the fact that I and Full Grip have created a very mutually beneficial relationship that has lasted 8 years. And now Full Grip is a multi-million-dollar business and one of the biggest card stores in the country and is thriving. And when I started working at Full Grip Games, not a single person had ever been to fullgripgames.com. Nobody. Right. And now we do millions of dollars of sales a year. So what you need to do, partner up with find a partner, right? If you're a content creator, find a partner that you guys can help grow together. Right. And that in that way, you are going to make up for the lack of viewership, because you're targeting a very narrow audience, but the narrow audience all has a specific need. Buying cards and selling them, right? So you can generate revenue that way that a video game player cannot, because there's no tangibles. In fact, video game players hate spending money. That's their thing. They hate spending money. So sponsorships very terrible for the video game players. So you have to milk the ad rev, right? But trading card game players love spending money, or else they wouldn't be in this hobby.
It's true. It's true.
So it's actually just so you have the broken hack, which is that you could be a
trading
good
card game players are fiscally irresponsible
by nature.
Yeah,
by nature. So that has always been my thing, is that players should be partnering up with shops more. But then so many players don't know how to be a good sponsoree, is what it comes down to. And what I've always said is that you as a player and a sponsoree, you need to make yourself indispensable to that business. You have to make it so that they never question why they're paying you. Mm-hmm. They have to know why they're paying you and be happy to do it. Right. Sure. And that is got to be your mission as a sponsoree, right? For Dragon Shield, that's been my toughest sponsor, because I really had to work for that one, and we don't have a personal relationship. I don't see them, right? They literally are from Denmark, dude.
Yep.
So Full Grip was very easy. I get to build a personal rapport with these people every single day. Mm-hmm. But for Dragon Shield, I have my rep that I talk to every month, and I give him a detailed list of every single thing that I did for Dragon Shield during the previous month when I send them my invoice, right? And that's why. And so if the CEO or if anybody ever comes knocking and it's yo, what are we paying this guy for? He could say, I know exactly what we're paying him for. It's right here, right? But I don't know. Pokemon players don't think like that. They don't. But it's not that hard. You just have to be worth it. Be worth the money that you're getting paid, right? Figure out how can you help the business make your worth that they are paying you. How can you help them to make that money back, and more, right? Because that's ultimately the deal. They're not going to keep you if you're just breaking even.
An investment. Yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. So interesting stuff.
Anyways,
yeah.
So now, and this, I know I'm rambling, but listen, it's either
what
that
else
or I
we
talk
got
about
to talk
standard.
about, bro? What else we got?
It's either that or we talk about standard, and I do not want to talk about standard.
No, dude, no, you do want to talk about standard. You do.
No, I don't. I don't even want to play at NAIC, but we'll get there.
No.
So then, I know
the boys are back, dude. The boys are back. We're gonna go on a generational run. So now, we have to lock in, dude.
So now, the situation with Full Grip is I grinded for years and years and years to help get Full Grip where it's at. And now, I have the freedom to pursue my creative visions. And it's like, I don't have to, the work is done. The work is done, man. Full Grip has made it. Full Grip is huge now. When you Full Grip is hitting like the Google algorithms. When you just Google like sell your cards, Full Grip's one of the top hits. Like Full Grip is there. Full Grip is in the stratosphere now, right? And I helped propel them to that point. And now I get to just reap what I sowed. Now I'm here. Full Grip will never get rid of me, and I'll never abandon Full Grip. Like we're just here together, and we got here together. And now I have the ability to pursue my creative vision. And now I don't have to pull my hair out grinding, every single weekday, and trying to like really sweat it out about, about stream numbers and stuff like that. Like I don't have to do that anymore. Like we've made it. So like, I feel like I've kind of have built this like legacy position for myself now at the shop. It's like I created for myself the position that I want to have, and now I get to do cool stuff like serve the community, stream league nights, make cool YouTube videos. It's not that serious anymore. We did it, and now I'm just along for the ride.
Wow. All right. That is a shift away from the grind set. More to the like.
Well, I'm grinding in a different way. Now I'm trying to make a video that gets 1 million views. That's my next goal.
Right. Okay.
That's not going to be easy, and I've never done it.
But like, wouldn't it be cool to see a Pokemon TCG video that's not a rip? I don't even know if rips have done this, but to be on YouTube trending.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm working on it.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That's my next goal. I mean, Purple Cliff has got. I
guess Purple Cliff. I take it back. I bet
he's got YouTube videos about playing the card game that have 1 million views. He does.
Yeah.
He does. So like I'm starting to kind of figure out like what can I do in the YouTube space to like hit some real big home runs. Because if you get a YouTube video, think about it this way: like my TCG, my fake card video has got 210,000 views. That's got a Full Grip ad in it, and it's still getting thousands of views a day.
Right.
Today. Like, and that's got a Full Grip ad in the middle of it, smack dab in the middle of it.
Right.
So like, but if you're live streaming, you're really only streaming to the same like 5,000-10,000 people every day.
Yeah.
Right. But that's reaching people that I would have never reached before.
Sure.
So like really as a sponsoree, like I'm kind of doing more for my sponsor by focusing on like trying to hit a home run of a YouTube video.
Sure.
Now I'm at this point where it's like that's where I'm really going to focus on.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Anyways,
interesting. One thing that I thought was very interesting was you're not locking in for NAIC. You're over it. What's that about?
Yeah, man, I'm retired, man.
No, you're not retired.
Standard,
Even like okay. Listen. Michael Jordan was retired. And then he came back and he won 3 straight. And then he retired again. And then he came back and he was like the second leading scorer on the Washington Wizards for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much did basketball change in those times that he took off and came back? How much did the sport of basketball change at that time?
I don't know. How much?
Probably not much. Not much, right? It's the same sport. You're coming back to the same exact sport. Like,
yeah, your
Pokemon
body's
cards.
older,
Like,
though.
I look at you're right, but I look at standard format now, and none of the decks or strategies entice me right now.
Dude, the strats are good now. This game is good.
That's like that's like your opinion, man.
we have a format dominated by stage 2s.
That's your opinion. Like that it's awesome. I mean, like I'm not interested.
I'm not saying it's awesome. I'm just saying
the decks do not interest me. The strategies do not interest me. The pace of the game does not interest me. Like I don't like it. The card design is not interesting me.
If you don't like this format, I can't help you. Like I don't know. I think if there was a giant map.
There's a lot of people who don't have any decks that they like right now.
What?
There's a lot of people who feel me on this, who just, they don't like any deck right now. There's a lot of people who feel this way.
No,
A
there
lot of
can't
people.
be. There can't be.
There is. I go live and I talk to people about it. Yes, there's lots of people who feel this way.
I mean, there's always going to be haters. This is a good format, dude.
I'm not a hater. I just
saying,
am not enticed.
if you lined up every single format in the Pokemon TCG history,
I'm not saying we
you're
have
like,
the worst
okay.
format right now. It's like it's in the middle of the road.
I can't believe it.
I think Dusknoir is an incredibly toxic card. I do.
Yeah, Badoo kind of sucks.
Dusknoir is horrible.
Yeah, I hate Dusknoir for sure.
Okay, and none of the decks really interest me that much. It's all about like, oh, there's so many like pop-offs and things like that. It's just, I'm not super into it. Decks like Raging Bolt just like blast anything. Pheasantipity makes it so hand disruption doesn't work. Like, who cares, man?
Wow, that's crazy.
Dragapult is like, oh, you're like gonna play the interesting deck. I'm gonna play Dragapult. Like, okay.
You know what I've been having a lot of fun doing?
What's that?
Playing 2018.
Well, you didn't say standard.
Well, no, I'm just saying. You know, I'm getting Ann. I'm trying to raise Ann up in the old decks, in the ways of the old decks. So she's got her Buzzwole deck, and I've got my Zoroark deck, and then we've played maybe like 5 or 10 games over the last couple days.
Oh, that's sick.
So she, you know, she might get in on it. She's kind of inquiring. I bet she could.
That's hype.
I bet she could get on it. I bet if I showed her an Eevee, and I'm like, hey, this Sylveon deck, it's got Q-Poke, it's got a Clefairy in it, it's got some Eevees. Like, I think we could work with something there. Like, maybe standard's there for her.
I just don't like the pace of standard.
But the pace of standard is good. I really think the pace of standard is like very appropriate. It's a very appropriate pace.
I believe that the best formats, a single game, should feel like a valid way to conclude a set.
Yeah. I think you have
I don't
that.
think standard is that right now. No, I don't think standard.
I think you have that.
Then
sure.
why would people be so mad about cutting away 50 best of 3 then? For like 2006 format, you don't have to. You're not. Neither am I.
Yeah.
But like people are. For like 2006 format, God, dude, I played a 2006 side event at the last full grip 6K or 4K, and oh, it was so good. The games were so fun. The pace was so nice. Like, I don't know. I just like retro right now. I like 2006 format. Natalie and I are working on building retro decks. Like, I'm having a blast with that.
Yeah.
Chris Fulop and I commentated over the Sun and Moon to Lost Thunder full grip retro event. That was a lot of fun. I'm still into Gym Leader Challenge. The Gym Leader Challenge is a lot of fun. I'm having a great time with that. Standard's just not doing it I don't care about standard right now. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
None of the decks seem interesting to me, not even a little bit.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I wonder what it would take, because I do feel like I think you could make the argument against Dusknoir, and we're getting a correction.
I think Jewel Seeker is a terribly designed ability.
What's
wrong
with
that's
that?
Also like Jewel Seeker, you should not just be able to go get 2 trainers off of a stage 1 evolution.
Dude,
it's ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
Shady Dealings was ridiculous. Shady Dealings was ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. No, it's too broken.
No, you need so much to enable it.
It's so broken.
It's not just drawing into the evolution. It's having a Terra Pokemon in
play, bro. You have to have a basic in play. Like, oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
You have to have a broken basic in play.
Yeah.
Something that... No, dude. The pace of the game is jacked. It's jacked. It's completely jacked.
It's not, though. That's the crazy thing.
Is.
What are you talking about? We have multiple stage 2 decks doing just fine. We have single prize decks that are viable. We do have big beat stick. Yeah, we do. You got the Roaring Moon deck. You got the Gardevoir deck.
Wait. Okay. What do they get? I'm not seeing him in the top 8 of any of the regionals.
You're not seeing Gardevoir in top 8 of any other regionals? Really?
Gardevoir is not a single prize deck, dude.
Yeah.
Don't play with me, dog.
Gardevoir's not a single prize deck. All right.
It's not.
We'll let history judge you on
who's
that
the deck
statement.
named after? Who's the deck named after?
Well, Gardevoir. That's because when it was originally, that's because when it was originally printed. No. When it was originally printed, you had the other Gardevoir, the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. So.
Yeah, but Gardevoir who? Gardevoir what?
No. The Shining Arcana. The Shining Arcana was not an EX. That was a regular. That was the original
EX
Genesis. No. The
Gardevoir
Shining
EX
Arcana,
is not a single prize deck, dude.
The Gardevoir Shining Arcana. That's where the name originated from. And then we just kind of
none of these decks look interesting to me, dude. They're all so degenerate, but not degenerate in a fun way. They're not degenerate like 2019 expanded was. Like that was sick.
2019.
I actually 2019 expanded was like kind of cool actually. It's like at a certain point where it's like, okay, if there's that much depth and that many like different strategies you could use, if the strategies are that kind of broken, like that, it's kind of like that sweet spot. Whereas here, I just feel like I see the same stuff. A deck like the Joltik Miraidon deck. All right, look at the deck that I played, the Miraidon deck I played the 21st place at 2023 Worlds, and look at this Joltik Miraidon deck, bro. This Joltik Miraidon deck. It just plays Arven and Crispin, and you just try to power up a hands as fast as you can. It sucks, dude. It doesn't even play any way to interact with your opponent, bro. This
why do you need
crap
to do that?
Sucks.
Why do you need to do
this
that?
crap sucks, bro. Because it's not worth doing because you have Pheasantipity EX, so it's not even worth doing because Pheasantipity EX exists. So why even play Ioto? Because it's worthless, bro. This crap sucks. It sucks, dude. And then it's all about the pop-off plays. I think ace-specs are terribly designed cards. Ace-specs are horrible for the game. I always think about like what would happen if you put an ace-spec in GLC. Horrible. It'd make the format so much worse because they're terribly designed cards.
Interesting.
They just shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ace-specs are terrible for the game.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I think the card design is generally pretty uninteresting right now as well. Like, kind of uninspired. They print something incredibly broken, then they try to print a counter. That's just what they're on right now. They print incredibly broken card, counter, like very brazen counter.
Yep.
Incredibly broken card, brazen counter, right? And that's just what we're doing right now, and it sucks.
I don't see the harm in that.
Because there's no good card, because there's no thoughtful card design happening, dude.
Yeah.
They're just printing the most crazy crap they can, and they're like, we'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it later. Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that, right? That
like,
is,
this crap's gonna fly off the shelves, dude. Yeah. These idiots will buy this. These idiots will buy this crap, and then we're just gonna counter it in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean it is encouraging though. You know, you see we had some regionals this weekend. We had Melbourne, we had Utrecht, we had Santiago, and you are seeing the good players rise. I think again, that's not everything. That doesn't indicate everything about a format, but that does say something about the format in that.
Oh, you have to be good to win for
sure.
Know,
yeah, there are obviously Brent taking home a second regional this year. Congrats to him in Melbourne with his Gardevoir deck. And then, familiar faces, William Azevedo in Santiago, great player, winning as well with the Gardevoir deck. So, big things happening there. And Joel Wigner in Utrecht with the Dragapult. So it's really just been a format dominated by kind of the two big stage 2 decks. Dragapult
and then Raging Ball, and you're telling me that this crap is worth playing, dude? Like, are you serious?
I mean, we've had rock paper scissors formats before. It's no big thing.
I just don't think it's that interesting.
Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. So okay,
to me,
all right.
The most interesting deck looks like the Flareon deck is the only deck that looks remotely interesting to me.
Yeah,
but even that
Flareon deck is kind of
is like
Flareon deck. Actually, you know what? If you haven't tried the Marnie deck. The Marnie deck is cool. The Marnie deck has some things going on that are pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
That are very cool.
Mm-hmm.
That deck is really nice. I was playing it over the weekend with Jesse, and I came out of our session. I'm like, yeah, man, like this was not a fluke that it won.
It's tearing it up. Yeah.
In Japan,
Mhm.
now there is a bit of a like surprise factor with a deck like that. If you're able to catch players off guard, they haven't played against it before, it is kind of difficult to determine, okay, do I go after the monkey? Do I go after the Frostlass, which is building up damage counters on Pokemon with abilities turn after turn? Do I go after the active, like the main attacker? Or, if they're trying to evolve up manually, do I go after that? The Grimmsnarl, all the pre-evolutions, like there is a little bit of like, I do expect the win rates to drop as that deck gets more played and more people start testing against it. But man, I walked away saying that is definitely a solidly tier 1 deck heading into NAIC.
Yeah, that deck seems good. I mean, the thing about it is you look at it, right? You look at the list. It does not jump off the page at you. You're like, what the heck is going here? You read Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, and you're like, this card doesn't read very good. It does 180 damage and 30 snipe. It accelerates 5 energy, which is way more energy than you need to power up your attack. So, like, what are we doing here? And then it plays like a 2/2 Frostlass. Like, what the heck is that doing? And then there's monkeys.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I've been talking to Chad about it, and I think I finally started to get it. Like it's a spread deck. It's basically the best Monkey Dory deck in format, right? And you think of just the Marnie's Grimmsnarl's good typing, powers itself up, plays into the spread strategy. 1-tap Gardevoir obviously is a big thing. And I was like, all right, so why are we just not playing Charizard then? Like, why is Charizard not better? And it's like, because it doesn't share an energy type with Monkey Dory. So like that's the big, and that's the big thing, right? And that was like kind of the aha moment for me. I was like, oh, it's just the Monkey Dory deck, but then you've got this beat stick in here that just kind of powers itself up. Like,
yeah. It's the best of Dragapult and Charizard in a card, right? Because one of the main benefits of Charizard is that it's going to power itself up, right? Like that is just, you can go from no energy in play to a viable attacker that's swinging for anywhere from 180 to 300 damage, right? And then you have Dragapult, which is insane right now because you get that snipe ability, right? And you're doing big damage, but you're also sniping reliably on a Pokemon that that has no weakness. And so with the Marnie's Grimmsnarl, you are powering yourself up. Great. You are, there is this snipe effect, obviously not as good as the Dragapult, but it's there, it's present. And then you have, by and large, a typing weakness that does not matter, that is not relevant in current standard. You can make an argument that, Leafeon wrecks you in the EV deck. Sure, Leafeon is a bad time. The Ogerpon you're not particularly scared of because you're hitting numbers, and if you have the Frostlass and the monkeys, like you're hitting enough numbers where you're knocking that out in response, right? So that's not really a big deal either. So yeah, I mean, I think the deck is really good. I had a nice session with Jesse the other day, and not just like first time getting reps in the Destined Rivals format, and just I was really impressed with the deck.
Were you guys playing on like Limitless Simulator or something?
Yeah, Limitless Tabletop. Yeah. Yep. So
that's crazy.
It's big tournament, for me, right? I know Jesse kind of wants the glory and the clout, so he's in it as well. Like he's in the trenches. He's in the trenches for sure. But
yes, but for you it is a big deal. And why is that, JW?
Yeah, well, we're on the outside looking in. We're on the outside looking in regards to the invite this year. I look back at the season and I can't be particularly disappointed. I felt like there was maybe one tournament that I wish I had back to play a different deck was probably the Thorns Dragapult deck that I played.
That deck is so butt, dude.
It was not the worst deck I've ever played to a major, and I still was able to day 2, but there were a couple rounds that were just really unfortunate. Like you're kind of dependent on what you open in certain matchups, and I played the Pecker cloth deck, and I got donked 4 games
Yeah.
in a row with that. And that was just really demoralizing because I like literally didn't play a card in 3 of those games. And then and that matchup is like, okay, if you open the Dreepy, you probably lose. If you open the Iron Thorns, you probably win. And 4 games I opened the Dreepy, in 4 games they got the donk, and it was like, oh God. And then so I somewhat regret that play. But, by and large, I have achieved championship points at every event that I've been to, which is like, I mean, I've been playing for 15 years. That's like, I'm feeling at the top of my game in terms of the consistency. Now, do I want those placements to be a level or 2 above? Yeah, obviously I do, right? I obviously want, those top 64s to be top 32s or better. Like, I obviously want, the top 256s to be top 128s, obviously. But, by and large, I feel pretty good about the play, and I don't, outside of like weird local decks, like I'm playing against, just things that I'm not particularly prepared for. Like I don't look back at the season and go like, oh, I made a huge mistake and that, cost me a deep tournament run or something like that. But I'm sitting at about 580 points for Worlds, and there's some debate. I do have an open finish, so that's like a big deal, because you look at a lot of the players ahead of me on the leaderboard and they have all their finishes, right? Like, even if it's low placements, like there's a pretty significant cap on what they can earn at NAIC, but I have like an open slot, so I could, again, based on past performance, and past performance does not indicate future success, but I have the ability to gain some big ground. And so, thinking that threshold is 700 points, if it's 700 points and, I walk into NAIC somewhere in that, 600 to 610 range, like,
so what you're saying is you have one open spot and NAIC will fill it with whatever placement you get, whereas other players on the list are just upgrading other finishes.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right. So like your potential to gain is much higher than many.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, exactly. And you kind of assume that most players have locals maxed out. At this point, I don't. So there's also some, there's some potential that I'm losing. But overall, I'm 180. So I have to jump, 60 players. What's that?
Sure. You have to jump 60 players or 80 players?
Well, it's top 125. So
is it top 125? Okay. Yeah. All right. 60 players. That's no problem.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm interested. I'm bought in. I'm trying to do it. Well,
you should be at this point, because this is where it's where you make it. It's
where the rubber meets the road. Here. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Gotta be bought in. See, but for me, what do I got to buy into, dude?
Glory.
Oh, man. I've already top 8'd in NAIC. I'm good.
Yeah, but she never got a trophy, bro.
That would be sick. Yeah, but what are the odds of that? The odds of that are so low, it's not even worth getting excited about.
No, what do you mean? The odds of that are so low, so I'm not even going to try. Do you know how sad that sounds?
For someone who hasn't played a lick of standard all year, probably.
You commentated. You are more plugged into standard format than 90% of your opponents will be.
That's
NAIC.
for sure. That's for sure.
So there is, in my mind, for a player like you, there is no reason that you have to think that you are at disadvantaged coming.
No, but the thing. Okay, so for me, like, I could get, if I had a deck I liked, like I feel like I could get the motivation going. But I just am looking at all these decks and I'm just like, man, it's just not, they're not exciting me. They aren't. So it's hard. If I could get sold on something, bought into, if I could buy into something, right? Everybody just keeps telling me it's Gardevoir. Just play Brent Tonnison's Broken 60. Like, how much? That's just, how motivating is that? Like, oh, just copy somebody else's list. They've done all the work for you, and just like try to play it as good as people have been playing it all year. Man, that sucks, bro. Like
Play
that ain't
something
me.
counter. Play
That
something
ain't
counter.
me,
Play
dude.
something like
That ain't me.
Enzorg or
Oh,
something.
play something to counter it, like the stupid Joltik deck that has
No,
absolutely
nobody.
zero
We're off.
interaction with your.
We're off a Joltik. We're off a Jolt. I told Jesse, I was like, we're going down the list of decks. I'm like, this would be this. That's not even
Also,
making the list
Enzora gets so much worse at an AIC because there's
because of the
freaking
Shaman.
yeah.
Yeah, Shaman.
So
Shaman is
no.
actually a big deal. There is a nugget here for those listeners that have listened all this way for standard. Shaman is actually a big deal because you shut down, and it's a big deal for Dragapult and it's a big deal for Gardevoir because you shut down the Raging Bolt. The little Raging Bolt in the Raging Bolt deck.
Well, that card's broken in GLC and standard. So,
yes.
yeah, I know
well,
about
exactly,
that thing.
exactly, right? So like,
yeah,
that is the way for Raging Bolt to really like gain a foothold in this format is because they have the little Raging Bolt and they can just spawn camp your GPs. Right? They can just spawn camp your GPs, they can spawn camp your Dracloaks, your Curlias, and there's really nothing that those stage 2 decks can do. Now you introduce a 1-card counter, severely nerfs the Raging Bolt deck because now they have to take out the active every single turn. Obviously not that hard, but they'd prefer to be knocking out all the support Pokemon, especially early game. And you just, get your engine running and obliterate their field. So I think that there's something there where, Raging Bolt is like, oh, it's doing really well in Japan. It's been doing really well in standard. I think that's a deck that is going to fall off pretty significantly just
Bolt
because Shaman is in the
Mm-hmm.
format.
It does. Bolt gets nerfed and Zora gets nerfed. And guess which decks get better? Guardy and Dragapult. So like, you're telling me that's going to make me more interested, bro? Well, no,
dude.
If I could play the Rockets Mewtwo, if I could play a cool new Team Rocket deck at NAIC, if I could, I would be interested. I would be interested though, because like I could cook something new that people hadn't seen yet, and like I could get really into it.
What are the locals saying? What are your Bullgrip locals saying? Because I'm sure somebody is trying to
Dragapult heads or Guardy heads. No, dude, that's just what they're all Dragapult heads or Guardy heads, and then there's a Raging Bolt head. It's those 3 decks. Those are the only 3 decks.
You know a deck that beats Dragapult and Gardevoir?
And Raging Bolt?
And Raging Bolt probably.
What's that?
Marnie's Grimmsnarl.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that deck is going to be interesting for sure.
Think about it. I
mean, I could get into it, but that is no secret, dude.
I mean, maybe it will be. Like, we're only getting standard.
Are there going to be any
TCG
major regional championships?
No,
in this format before
June. June is a desert. There's no city leagues.
Oh, right.
There's no CP awarding events.
All right, I can
in
get
the
into
entire format, or in the entire month of June, that culminates in NAIC. And so
I just loathe taking somebody else's list and playing it.
Okay, then change 1 card. Do what I do.
No, dude. I like to have my own deck.
Okay, well then come up with something, dude. This is a challenge to you then.
Yeah, dude, man. There's nothing, man. There's nothing, bro. The good decks are too good. The good decks are too good.
No.
They're
I don't think
broken.
that's true. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think you haven't
broken.
I think you haven't looked deep enough. Okay, look at this. There was an Okie Dokie deck that got top 32 in Utrecht. You could play Ethan's Typhlosion. You could play, let's see. Yeah, Okie Dokie.
Ethan's Typhlosion's not good enough.
You can play Goldango.
Dragapult and Dusknoir, like, pretty much single-handedly ruin a lot of the fun stuff. In a lot of ways, Dragapult and Dusknoir are not very different than ADP. Like, they're really not. Well, they just kill the small stuff. It's just like murder it. Which is what ADP did, just differently. And people hated ADP, but people like Dragapult, even though it's still just like is completely unfair and finishes games before they start.
It's like RDG.
So
Raging Bolt, Dragapult, Gardevoir.
It really is. It's those three right now. And Raging Bolt I don't consider to be a very interesting deck. It's just you literally are playing Sada every turn of the game. It's just the modern day welder deck. You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna welder to my guys and go boom. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're listening to this podcast now and you are interact with Andrew's content on Wednesdays or Thursdays or any of the times that he is a special guest, get him motivated. Get him ready. Where's that fire, man? Where's that fire that has produced some of the game's most legendary brews? Where is
it's going into Gym Leader Challenge, man?
Okay. Now that's a man's format. That's
I'm working on a fire deck right now, man.
Oh, okay.
Fire deck.
Wow.
It's also going into my I also for my tricky hideout videos, like I've been doing a lot of brewing with those. Like I've been spending a lot of time thinking about those. So like all the time that I used, now I spend time brewing for made up formats. So, because they're fun. They're more fun. It's more fun.
I don't know.
It's more fun when like, it's more fun.
See, I don't know, and this might just be me. Maybe there's nobody out there that can empathize with this, but I really enjoy like taking the same two decks and just mashing them against each other over and over and over, and trying to find those like little lines of play that could improve the matchup, or you play them so many times that like, oh, okay, now I'm like can rethink the list and play a different tech card that would help me, and like that's what I really like. I just love like the repetitive nature of playing a matchup in a format over and over and over again. And that's I guess why I like the old decks.
Yeah. I think when I'm feeling particularly driven, I definitely like I'll have somebody over, like I'll have Alex Holtz over, right? And I'm one of those people. I can play cards nonstop. I could play sun up to sundown, but like pretty much don't talk to me about standard though. But like I'll play Pokemon cards all day, like Gym Leader Challenge, Retro, Cube, all that. You want to talk to me about a fake format? Sure, I'll do that. Even like whatever. We'll brew up a fake format and I'll play games with that. But the standard hasn't really like scratched that itch for me lately. And most people have to give up playing cards with me before I do. I mean, like they have to tap out before I do. Like I am very rarely the person that I don't know that I'm ever the person that taps out. Like I can play cards sun up to sundown. If I got someone who wants to grind cards, like I could do it. I love playing cards. But I don't love playing online. I just don't. And that's probably going to ultimately be my downfall, because like I don't love grinding out games online. So like even if like you lived here, or if like one of my buddies lived close by and like wanted to come over and grind out games of standard to test for NAIC, I would do that. But like, I don't feel like doing it online though. That's just, man, I sit at the computer all day. Last thing I want to do is sit at the computer all night, man. Like I hate it. It sucks, dude.
Who knows? Maybe I'll be back in Ohio in a year.
Maybe.
Who knows? Cleveland, I hear Cleveland's pretty nice this time of year.
It is.
All right. Well, with that, we will bring this episode to a close. Not quite the episode that I thought we were going to have, but hopefully it was an interesting one nonetheless. If you liked this episode and want to leave a rating on your favorite podcasting platform, please do. Also, we have the podcast up on YouTube as well. You can head on over and subscribe, like, and comment over there. That's going to do it for us today. If you want to get more plugged into Tag Team, you can find us over on X at Tag Team Pokemon. You can find me at Real John Walter and Andrew at Enjoy Friend. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.